Now, Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, says the country will seek retribution for recent attacks and plans to take the management of the Strait of Hormuz into what he's described as a new phase. Well, the US has made reopening that key waterway one of the conditions of a ceasefire, which has been brokered by Pakistan. Well, Tehran says negotiations with the US will be meaningless if Israel maintains its attacks on Lebanon. Well, under pressure to stop the offensive, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to direct peace talks with the Lebanese government, with the focus on disarming the Iran-backed group Hezbollah. Well, the two-week ceasefire hangs in the balance ahead of those planned peace talks which are taking place in Pakistan this weekend. Well, let's speak now to Stavros Karamperidis, an associate professor in maritime economics at the University of Plymouth. Now, given your specialism, we're going to focus on the Strait of Hormuz at the moment. This is, of course, the centrepiece of any ceasefire agreement because it involves a lot of economics, and there's still hundreds of vessels who are trying to get through. I mean, some are able to do their own deals and get through, but the problem remains, doesn't it? And even though the ceasefire has been announced, are we seeing that much movement opening up?
Thank you very much for hosting me, Regina, and really thanks for the question. It's a wait and see approach, at least at the moment. We haven't really seen much activity because everybody's trying to see how that is being reflected. They're trying to find out the mechanism, who pays what, where they have to pay, and all that kind of stuff. And as everybody is realizing at the moment, is a very fragile ecosystem and is a very difficult environment, I would say, at the moment.
And so what do you think comes next? I mean, particularly for all the other companies involved in this, because there's politics, but there's also business here, isn't there, with all these different companies with vessels stranded there effectively.
That's correct. And we don't have to forget that there are approximately 3,200 vessels there, approximately 20,000 sailors. And that's the prime concern about the shipping sector. Everybody cares about the seafarers who are under a lot of stress over the last 40 days. And that's the prime agony, let's call it, for the shipping sector, that we're trying to remove the vessels out of the war zone, trying to move and go back to something similar to the previous situation. So any kind of talks that are going to they're moving the overall discussion to the previous status quo is a positive sign for the shipping sector.
And is there a way forward? I mean, Iran said in its ceasefire proposals, or its comments, I should say, that it was very much still in charge of the Strait of Hormuz. Is there any way forward? Some people have talked about having a toll or other ways it could be managed in future after these talks. Or is Iran going to be resolute in saying it controls it the way it wants to?
To be frank, I cannot comment on that because, as you can imagine, there are several talks in high-level discussions that are taking place. And it wouldn't be wise to do that because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of discussion behind the scenes from various senior politicians. But also at the same time, it wouldn't be right to do so. So I would say that, at least now it seems that for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be stop of firing vessels, and that gives a bit of release. And it's not only the vessels, it's also the port ecosystem that is being targeted in the region. A lot of ports have been targeted, so hopefully people can resume. We have some reports that ports start reopening again the operations, which is good because we need to see the economy coming back again to normality, and that will help us to bring back the 21 million barrels that the area that was passing through the Strait of Hormuz before the war. So I think that is a very good sign that we're seeing some progress.
OK, thank you very much for your thoughts, Stavros Karamperidis, an associate professor in maritime economics at the University of Plymouth. There's more on developments as, of course, those ceasefire talks are approaching. They're due to be held in Pakistan at the weekend. We'll have more on that after a short break. Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News.